NASCAR's latest wet weather tire test is deemed a success. What's really the problem with Legacy Motor Club? And I've got new power rankings ahead of Martinsville. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. It's good to talk with y'all. I have been grinding iRacing for the past 24 hours in preparation for tonight's Groovy Hollow charity iRacing stream. I'm racing in it against real-world NASCAR drivers, sim racing stars. I'm in over my head, which is why I have been putting in the work recently. I'm like a college kid desperately cramming for his final exam the night before. The event will be broadcast live on my channel tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Hope to see you there. Lots of fun stuff. Of course, we're raising money for Extra Life, a program of Children's Miracle Network hospitals. There's a paint scheme contest. Of course, you can order the Halloween machine diecast at groovyhollowraceway.com. And I recently found out that the great folks at Lionel Racing will be giving away a 1/24 scale diecast during every caution period. So be sure to tune in. Gonna be fun, gonna be frightful, festive, fast, of course, on the racetrack. Come cheer me on tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern time, streaming right here. You never know what could happen. Let's get to the latest NASCAR news. NASCAR and Goodyear conducted a wet weather tire test at Homestead Miami Speedway, a mile and a half yesterday. And it sounds like it went pretty well, at least according to NASCAR Cup Series Managing Director Brad Moran, who was on SiriusXM earlier this morning. He said, quote, "From my reports, and we'll go through this thoroughly later today at our competition meeting, the tires held up really well. They did a great job. There was some spray, which we anticipated. The speeds are obviously much higher when you go to mile and a halves, so we've probably got a little work to do there, but overall, it was a really good test. All three drivers agreed on the tire they all liked." NASCAR watered the track Sunday night and then again on Monday to create damp conditions. This is wild. It took years for NASCAR to run wet weather tires at road courses. Recently, we've seen them used at short tracks, but mile and a halves? Science said it couldn't be done. Credit to NASCAR, credit to Goodyear for giving us another tool that could potentially be used to fight back against Mother Nature. Obviously, we won't see these tires used this season. Probably not next season, but it's cool that this is a real work in progress. Moving on, I hate to bring down the mood, but Legacy Motor Club has been one of the biggest disappointments this season. First year with Toyota, John Hunter Nemechek behind the wheel of the 42, Jimmy Johnson fully on board, and they've done nothing. Somehow they're less competitive than they were last year when Chevrolet cut them off completely. Anytime a team is struggling this badly, jobs are going to be called into question. Last week, a rumor was sparked when the Couch Racer Twitter account posted this during the Las Vegas race. "One dude really needs to outrun his boss today." Of course, Jimmy Johnson was racing in that Las Vegas race. Eric Jones just signed an extension, so everyone focused on John Hunter Nemechek. To his credit, John Hunter Nemechek went on to finish 9th in that race, his first top 10, I think, since like June. But that hasn't stopped fans from running with these rumors over the past week. There was a recent post on Instagram that made its way over to Twitter, then was on the front page of Reddit, suggesting Corey Heim may be in line to take over the number 42 next season. And if I'm being completely honest, the logic tracks. Legacy has struggled all year. John Hunter Nemechek is 34th in points. The team has shown they're not afraid of turnover. They've made so many personnel moves, executives in and out. They've fired 2 crew chiefs this year. And Corey Heim has obviously impressed in the Truck Series, is also signed on as Legacy's reserve driver. So again, these rumors are rooted in logic. However, it's worth noting that the Couch Racer Twitter account that first sparked these rumors recently suggested John Hunter will stay in the 42, so maybe fans have made a whole lot out of nothing. Wouldn't be the first time we were guilty of something like that, but it got me thinking about Legacy Motor Club more broadly. Why have they struggled so badly this season? Fallen well short of expectations. Is it John Hunter Nemechek's fault? Is he a bad driver? Does he deserve to be replaced? Nemechek may not be amazing, but he's not the main problem at Legacy Motor Club. I mean, go back to last season. John Hunter Nemechek won 7 Xfinity Series races. You don't win 7 Xfinity races in a single season without some talent. Go back to his rookie Cup Series season. The year was 2020. John Hunter drove for Front Row Motorsports, who at the time was not as competitive as they appear to be today. 2020 was also the pandemic season, so John Hunter is making his Cup Series debut without any practice, any qualifying, no track time. Yet despite nearly every factor working against him, John Hunter Nemechek showed us he has raw speed. I remember him running top 10 in one of the Darlington races, finishing top 10 in one of the Darlington races. He showed us raw speed. The knock against rookie John Hunter Nemechek was that he frequently oversteps. He spins out a lot. Some mistakes. Nemechek, wisely, in my opinion, then chose to drop back down to trucks, had some success, moved up to Xfinity last year, was really, really good, now is back in Cup. But unfortunately, his current Cup situation is reminiscent of his first Cup situation. Struggling race team. John Hunter's driving it too hard, making a lot of mistakes. He's got 6 DNFs this year. He has, I counted them up, 13 finishes of 30th or worse. It's like 2020 all over again. Bad car, overdriving, making mistakes. I want to see John Hunter Nemechek in a good Cup Series situation before I make a final judgment. I think he's good. I think he has the raw speed. It's the discipline that is sometimes called into question. But again, John Hunter Nemechek is not the main problem with Legacy Motor Club right now. I think many of us, I know I did especially, underestimated the value Joe Gibbs Racing brings to Toyota. Toyota obviously has great resources. They bring a lot to Joe Gibbs Racing. Don't get me wrong, but what I didn't realize is just how important Joe Gibbs Racing's data is to Toyota's overall success. Legacy Motor Club does not have a technical alliance with Joe Gibbs Racing. They are effectively cut off from most of that data. Instead, Legacy Motor Club relies on Toyota for data. But Toyota, as I understand it, is largely reliant on Joe Gibbs for data. So you see, it's like a circle, but with an important link cut off. As Legacy Motor Club gains more experience, makes more laps, they'll collect more data of their own. At that point, I do think Legacy Motor Club will begin to find a bit more speed, but in the here and now, this team needs some stability. They signed Eric Jones to a multi-year deal. I think that's good. Eric Jones is very talented. I think it's smart to keep John Hunter around at least for another season. That way you can truly compare 2024 to 2025. You can see what John Hunter did last year, compare it to what he does next year, and you'll really be able to gauge how far your program has hopefully improved. Are the data points you've collected accurate, and can you translate those into more on-track speed next season? I think John Hunter Nemechek being that constant year to year will help this team improve in the short term. That's my theory, at least. Time will tell what happens, because I also think Corey Heim is really good. I think it would be smart to get him into a good Cup Series car sooner rather than later, but Legacy Motor Club isn't a good Cup Series car at this point. Maybe this time next year will be a different story. I think John Hunter Nemechek is the best driver right now to get them there. Let me know down in the comments below if that makes any sense, if you agree or disagree with my takeaway. But now, it's time for probably my favorite weekly segment. I rank the top 10 fastest teams in the NASCAR Cup Series right now. I'll be completely honest, it was nearly impossible to decide on number 10. I'll give Bubba Wallace the credit this week. You know, over the past 7 races, playoff races, he has an average finish of 12th. That's pretty good. A few top 10s in the mix, and at Homestead, I know the finish doesn't look too great, but he ran up front early on, finished second in stage 1, fired off with some great speed, so I'll give Bubba Wallace some credit this week. He's at number 10. At number 9, Alex Bowman is still the best, most consistent non-playoff driver in the field. Finished 7th at Homestead. Take out the disqualification at the Roval, his average finish is 9.7 for these playoffs. That's really good. He certainly has a shot at finishing top 5 or top 6 in points at the end of this year. More than anything, I hope this consistency rolls over into the start of 2025, because Alex Bowman could be a legitimate regular season championship contender in 2025 at the rate he's going. Bowman at 9. I've got the remaining playoff drivers in positions 1 through 8, beginning with Joey Logano at 8. I don't really know where to place Joey Logano right now, because by the time we get to Phoenix, Logano should maybe be 1 or 2. He's getting extra time to focus on that track in particular. Penske's been very good at the flat ovals this year. In a couple weeks, Logano might be number 1. But it's obvious right now he's phoning it in. They phoned it in at Homestead. We're terrible all day, not relevant. And I anticipate Martinsville will be much of the same. Maybe he'll be a little better at Martinsville because perhaps there are some things you can test at Martinsville that would translate to Phoenix. We'll see, but based on his Homestead performance alone, Logano is lucky to be in position 8, and I don't anticipate him being a top 5 threat at Martinsville this week. But once Phoenix rolls around, it'll be a different story. I'm putting Logano at 8. Just bear with me. Let's move on. Denny Hamlin is in position number 7. Homestead was his best playoff race so far. Only his second top 5 finish, but at Miami, he was able to nab a stage win, was in contention for the race win until the final lap. I know it stings not getting the win when it was right in front of you, but at least Denny Hamlin got his points deficit down to like 4th down and reasonable going into one of his best historic tracks. I've moved Chase Elliott up a position. I had to. Top 5 run at Homestead Miami Speedway, earned points in the stages. His 81 laps led was the most he's had in a single race this season. And guess where he led his second most laps all season? Martinsville in the spring. Guess where we're headed this weekend? Back to Martinsville. Chase Elliott, maybe 40 plus points below the cut line, but don't count him out completely. Chase Elliott at 6, top 5. I gotta move Ryan Blaney back into the top 5. He finished 2nd at Homestead, led 50 laps, had the win in his sights. I still don't feel he choked the win away. It still looked more like Reddick went and took it, if you ask me. Still disappointing for Blaney. What's obvious to me is that Team Penske came to play in these playoffs once again. Blaney is the defending Fall Martinsville winner. Watch out for him this weekend. 5th place Ryan Blaney in the 4 spot. Kyle Larson, top 5 speed once again. But for the 2nd consecutive race, they ran into problems. Some of it has just been bad luck, like the flat tire at Homestead, but some of it has also been self-inflicted. The bad pit stop at Las Vegas cost them 2 laps. Larson spun himself out racing for the lead at Homestead. They have the speed, clearly, but they haven't executed like a championship team the past 2 weeks, which is why they're now on the bubble. Kyle Larson at 4. At number 3, I've got William Byron. He has an average finish of 3.6 over the last month. That's crazy. He wasn't great at Homestead, but he still finished 6th, and we're headed to Martinsville where he won in the spring. If I'm gonna nitpick William Byron at all, he's not leading laps, or at least he's not leading as many laps as my top 2. Let's move on. Number 2, Tyler Reddick is moving up to the number 2 spot. After a slow start to the playoffs, they flipped a switch since the Roval. Last 3 races, they've qualified 2nd, 1st. They've led laps and won a stage in all 3 races, and now he just won at Homestead to lock himself into the championship 4. That regular season championship speed is back. Look for Tyler Reddick to be a real contender for this year's championship. And at number 1, 2nd consecutive week, I believe, is Christopher Bell. 3rd top 5 finish in a row. His average finish for the entire postseason is 5.5. He's good at flat tracks, so I expect him to contend at Martinsville this weekend. He won this race 2 years ago to lock into the championship 4. Doesn't have to win this weekend, but he runs top 5. He should be good to go. Christopher Bell at number 1. There's my top 10. Other than number 8 and number 10, I feel really good about the rest of this list. Let me know down in the comments below if you agree or disagree with my rankings. Thanks for watching this video, folks. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new to the channel and love all things NASCAR. Big thank you to my Patreon supporters. Every single month, y'all help keep this show growing. I really appreciate y'all. Groovy Hollow tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time. I've got to get back to practicing. Hope you'll tune in. I'll see you again real soon.